Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to a very special episode of the MitsuTimes podcast. My guest today, Mr. Cam Herring. He is the owner and driver of one of the absolute sickest 4G63 powered cars out there. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Cam, I got to start off by saying congratulations on winning Rookie of the Year last year. A lot of people, I think, have taken notice and put their votes in. So big congratulations on that.
Thank you, buddy.
So, Cam, for those that aren't familiar, why don't you give us a little bit of the backstory on this chassis? I mean, is it one of those things where it's homemade or it was bought by somebody who was using it before, or is it a little bit of both?
So this car started out, it come from a junkyard. It was a bone stock car. All it needed was a fuel pump. Every piece of this car was built in mine and my dad's shop together. We started on it while I was in high school. We built the chassis. We painted it. I had a good buddy help me wire it because I'm colorblind. You don't want me wiring anything. But yeah, every piece of it, down to, every nut and bolt, every weld, everything was done by me and my dad.
Wow. That's super cool, super special. You never hear those stories anymore. I feel like, 10, 20 years ago, we used to hear that more often. Now it's like that never happens. So that's so cool. So Cam, what is it that made you pull this, Dodge Avenger kind of unloved car out of the junkyard to build something this wild?
So my racing career started in a 72 Plymouth Cuda, 4,000 pound car, big block with some nitrous on it. Street car, I drove it to school some, and I was just before cutting the car all up and making a race car out of it. Because we were slow. I mean, I was running 620, 630s in the eighth back then. Everybody else was running 530s. And Dad was like, man, let's not cut a perfectly good street car up. And I wanted to build a Eclipse or a Talon, but around here everything's like stock wheelbase. You can't stretch wheelbase and all. So I got to looking at the 3000 GT and some more stuff like that. But the Dodge Avenger has a really good wheelbase from the factory. It still kind of keeps the body lines and the look of the DSM because it was made in the same era. So that's kind of what drove me to pick that.
Okay, makes sense. And I feel like the Avenger, obviously it's based on the 2G chassis. I feel like it's so underappreciated because it looked so good from the factory. I feel like you get the nice curves of the 2G, plus you got a trunk. I mean, it feels like a win-win. Plus, they
Yes,
even
sir.
had a V6 option. So even
Yes,
better.
sir.
So Cam, what was the hardest part of turning this chassis into this rear-wheel drive monster that you have now?
Um, Probably the money aspect of it, being in high school and building a car. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff had to be done on budget in a way, and it sucks because there's a lot of stuff I would love to redo about the car, but the car's so special to me, I don't want to change or do anything about it because it was my first car that me and my dad built together. But
Sure.
mainly just timeline and money wise.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So Cam, how much of this car is still the Avenger?
So the it's still a factory body. The factory shell of the car, rockers, quarter panels, roof skin, everything is still factory Avenger. It's got factory front frame rails in it. Still actually has a factory front clip on it. It's got the steel fenders. It's got a aftermarket like Amazon bumper on it, but it's got fiberglass doors, trunk lid, and hood. but a lot of the car is still factory Avenger parts.
That's super cool. I think that makes it somehow even more special. Well, Cam, you if people don't know, you're a machine shop guru in the daytime. What is the engine and setup on this car? Because obviously you must know the ins and outs and the ups and downs, and have put your everything into this car.
Yes, sir. So I run an engine machine shop. A lot of people don't know that. I bought an engine machine shop that I worked for a few years. I bought it at the first of this year, took it over in January. And um but in sense, it's a factory block 6 bolt 91 model turbo motor, factory turbo motor. We run a dart and flange sleeve in it. It's got billet mains with main girdles, L19 studs all the way through it. We still utilize a factory crankshaft. We balanced it in house. Put our own little magic touches on it. Try to take some weight off of it where we could. Um, it has our custom spec connecting rod in it. There's two of two sets, and both of them have been in my motor. They're not available to the public. I have a very good rod guy down in Florida that builds nitro funny car rods, and he builds a custom spec rod just for my motor. Um,
Nice.
we run a custom spec Wiseco piston. We run 11-to-1 compression. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but it's a trial and error thing that we've been going through the past couple seasons. But I think we're on to something, and I think we are getting closer to our goal. It uses a 6 bolt cylinder head, factory cylinder head game CNC port job on it. Kilford cams, Kegley race springs, all Fiera valves. We back Fiera 100%. And all the little ins and outs goodies. We got precision on board with the turbo. Awesome CNC intake from Albert Rosinski over at MCR. So it's got some very, very nice parts in it.
Yeah, the best of the best. And as you said, a cast block, is that something that you plan to stick with?
Well, we've always joked and said cast is fast. I like running the cast block just because I can pick one up cheap and I can do all the work in house to it. But Albert has really kind of sparked my interest with this new billet block he's coming out with. Um, so I'm sure we will see a billet block in our future for sure.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I like that. Well, obviously, Cam, this car didn't come from the factory rear-wheel drive. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the transmission and the rear axle setup that you got going on?
So we run a Turbo 400. Mike Graham at Virginia Speed built us a custom spec for the 4 cylinder. We run a Neil Chance torque converter. Marty at Neil Chance, we're warehouse distributors for Neil Chance. Marty takes care of us, man. He's great. He does everything we ask of him. Rear end setup is a 9-inch Ford with all Mosier parts. We love the guys over at Mosier. They treat us very good. Um, Easy 4-link setup, simple stuff. Just your cut dry simple 400 9-inch.
Okay, okay, easy enough. What are we doing for ECU and tuning? Who's behind the keyboard?
So this year is actually getting changed up. Howtech come on board. Them guys over there are great. We're putting a new Nexus R5 and the new UC10 dash in the car. We're taking out the Elite 2500 box and upgrading and putting a new harness in it. We have a couple different people helping us with it this year. So Patrick Barnhill is going to come on board and help with some tuning, and he's going to help us get it lined out and get everything straight. And Kevin Mullins at TKM Performance, he's going to help a little bit with it. He's had his hands behind the scenes in some stuff, and he's going to try to start helping us out as we're chasing this radial tire record.
Like that. Well, Cam, one of my favorite parts of your car is the wheel and tire combo. I feel like it just it fits the car so well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're running right now?
Yes, sir. So, I have always and forever been in love with a Weld V series. It is by far my favorite wheel ever. Doesn't matter. It's the prettiest wheel. Um, so it actually took some time right to start with. We had an old set of 15-inch um, spindle mount wheels that we stuck on the car and got by. And, they look decent, but always in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I got to put V series on it. I got to put V series on it. So we put 17-inch V series on the front of it. And when we changed that, it just made the car pop, in my opinion. Um, but on the back, we run a standard Sanders 15 by 13 wheel. Um, it's standard as of now, but shout out to my man Lyle at McFab Beadlocks. We are going to change the ring up, probably do a custom ring, beadlock ring on the wheel here soon. But that'll be soon to come, and we'll see how it turns out.
That's definitely
But
exciting.
we run a 275 radial and or 28 by 10.5 slick. Most of what we do is on a radial, but I do have a feeling you will see it back on a slick here soon.
Okay. So even though the radio record is kind of in the forefront of your mind, the slick's still going to find its way on there.
Yes, sir. We are very, very much after the radial tire record. We are not far off of it. Me and Eric Jarvis pick on each other constantly over this record. But with the IHRA stuff being so close to home and a lot of the slick tire stuff coming back around on the East Coast, I think it would be cool to switch it over and see what we can do on a slick and put an import in the field.
Yeah, for sure. So Cam, obviously this car has a lot of parts going on, a lot of work going on. What part of this build took the longest or cost the most, and cost more than maybe you even expected it to?
Um, there isn't really one thing, but there was a lot of it. Basically going through the motions and learning. Um, I learned very early in the build that I did not have the funds to race on the level I was trying to race on. Um, so when we started on the car, we knew it had to be light to be able to run with the 4-cylinder. So I mean, we gutted it. We cut it up, and I mean, down to sheet metal, man. It took 4 or 5 weeks of me working every night and every weekend trying to save $200 or $300 to get the sheet metal for it. So being in school really played a toll on the build. And looking back now, I wouldn't have traded it for nothing because it probably kept me out of a lot of trouble. But there was a lot of stuff, a lot of long nights, long weekends trying to make the money, and you sitting out there, man, why am I doing this? And then you remember the set of shocks you need, or the fiberglass doors you're trying to buy. So it's just kind of mainly what costs the most to me is the time, being young, taking the time away from living your best life, I would say was the thing for me. But I being 22 now, I don't regret it a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you missed out a little bit on the being the kid part, but I mean, look at it now. I mean, I really feel like it was all worth it in the end.
That's right. That's right.
So we know that the 4G63, most of the listeners are familiar that it's unforgiving is the way I would best describe it. It's I wouldn't say finicky, but fragile may be the best term for it. So what has been the biggest challenge in making the 4G63 work in such a serious rear-wheel drive setup like this?
Our biggest challenge has been learning the 4G63 and learning the little motor. Um, we've had some good people help us along the way, but as in learning yourself and being at the racetrack, you try something, uh-oh, that didn't work. Um, and education's expensive. You can pay somebody to teach you, or you can blow it up until you learn it. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. But coming from the big cubic inch nitrous world, and the big blower motor world, it's very unforgiving on tuning to what I'm used to. Um, Kind of used to, if anything, make it go fat. Fuel can't hurt it; it'll get it out. It'll scavenge it out. That's not the case on these little motors, man. It will eat an aggressive amount of fuel. Don't get me wrong, but there comes a time that little bitty cylinder will not take no more.
So, Cam, we've seen a little bit here and there of you posting pictures on the track. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your track experience with this car and how it went and what you've ran so far? I know the series that you're in has a lot of no time stuff, so you can't be as descriptive as a lot of people that come on this podcast. But maybe you could just tell us, I don't know, maybe how you feel like it's going on the track.
Yes, sir. So we do run a lot of no time stuff. We run no time 275, small block boost, stuff like that, Carolina no time, stuff like that. But the car has been very fast. I think it's safe to say I can confidently say it's probably the fastest 4G63 on a small tire in the world. I know what pretty much all of the fastest cars have been. I've got
Mhm.
time slips to prove we have been faster, but I'm not into, showboating that. It is what it is. The car's nowhere near where I want it to be. Um, we're still chasing the record that Jarvis holds. It's four-cylinder 275 record. We've been within one number of his record, and the pass I was trying to set it, we ended up nicking a piston about 300 foot. And that kind of ended my season. That was last August. And it's just been, with taking over the new business and doing, it's really put a, slow down on getting my car back together. But it is what it is. We'll do it how we get it. But on paper, we've been within one number. I There's some no time events that we've run that has, some no time events, you don't get tickets during the race. Like, it's legit no time. Like, you don't get anything. You have to tune the car by what the data shows. And by the data, I feel like the car has been a tenth to 2/10 faster than what I've ever been on paper. But like I said, I have no receipt to prove it. So but this year coming back, we're gonna run some no time stuff, but I'm hoping if everything goes good by the end of the year, we will be at World Cup and the scoreboards will be lit.
I like that plan. Love to see some more Mitsubishi Power World Cup, the Super Bowl of racing. So, Cam, like you said before, early on in this podcast, you've been in some big block nitrous cars and some other types of race cars. What does this car feel like compared to some of those other builds that you've been a part of, or some of those cars that you've driven?
Um, to me, you know, I was very nervous getting into an import car because you watch a lot of your import race cars, uh, they're a handful. And I think this car is going to get to a point is there too. But I can say for a fact that we built way more car than motor when we first started. Um, Man, we've been 160 in the eighth. The car drives like a dream. I mean, we've had two passes that I really got after it. And I could tell the effects of, I had to drive it a little bit, but on average, our average races, man, I can drive the car with one finger. I mean, the car drives like a dream.
That is so cool. That's very exciting too. That eh, obviously that makes you more comfortable, and you could push the car and push the car and push the car. So that's definitely one of those things that's really good to hear.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess you kind of already answered our question, Cam, but of those moments where you had to throttle a little bit, has there been any kind of sketchy moments where you thought maybe you need to turn something down or adjust the suspension or anything like that?
Yes, sir. We had a test session at Darlington last year, and that was the first time in any race car I've sat in that I've said, hey, we need to assess this. I mean, we were 200 foot out, and the car would be, trying to make a move, and the front wheels were still in the air. And I come back and I was like, look, Dad, we got to figure out how to nose the car back over and get the front wheels on the ground. I can't drive it. And that's actually some of the nights that we went. I feel like we went some of our fastest passes ever, but I can't prove it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think most of us are familiar with, seeing a car, have some type of catastrophic failure mechanically at the track and what it can look like. But when you get in boost levels that are nearing the triple digits, I mean, the failures, are times 1,000. So, what's been the scariest moment behind the wheel where maybe you had a failure or something, and it just kind of seemed like the world was exploding?
Um, there was kinda 2 different moments. One of them wasn't really that sketchy, I just didn't know what happened. We blowed a cam sensor out of the back of the head, one night. The screw come loose in it, and we were using for the longest time, we've run a stock cam sensor on the back of the head.
Huh?
We kinda tested our luck with it, I'm gonna say, and a screw backed out, and it blowed the cap and the reluctor wheel out of the cam sensor into the firewall. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I thought something come out the side of the motor. I mean, it was violent. But that was after getting the car right back together and having it out on the second outing and thinking your car's blowed up, that was a scary time. But the scariest time I've ever had in the car was we were in Mexico, I'm gonna say, just for and we were playing with it, and I had a wastegate failure, and bare asphalt and 72 pounds of boost on a 4G don't really mix all that well. And the car made a move in the road, and yeah, it opened my eyes. The car has not been in the road being tested since that day.
Are you tired of YouTube channels that are like one big commercial, constantly building different cars, weekly or even daily videos? What about those car giveaways? No thanks. You said yes to any of those questions, head over to youtube.com/CSMTV1320. At CSMTV, you'll see us race, fix, and build all the junk, Colt, Summit, and Mirages your heart desires. And if you're lucky, we'll even work on some other Mitsubishis. And don't worry, we won't overload your feed with videos. Only doing 1 or 2 uploads a month, you'll have plenty of time to work on your own junk DSM or Mitsubishi. Don't like sponsored ads? No problem. Only having tens of people watch our videos means we don't have any sponsors. Car giveaways? No way. We barely have enough funds to keep our own turds on the road. So come check out CSM TV on YouTube if you like making poor financial decisions. Once again, that's youtube.com/CSMTV1320.
Well, has that cam sensor or that wastegate been the biggest failure that the cars had mechanically?
No, I wouldn't say so. I got to give a big shout out to Mike Graham at Virginia Speed Racing Transmissions. Knock on wood, I have not had a transmission problem since switching to his transmission. But before that, man, I went 3 weekends in a row, and we rebuilt the transmission every week. Um, we were busting front pumps, we were shearing input shafts, and it got to the point, man, we went 3 weekends, and we did not go down the racetrack not one time. I mean, I would let go of the button, the car would go 20 foot and it'd break something in the transmission. And
Holy
we'd
cow!
come home, pull it out, get the parts, upgrade the parts, go out, it breaks something else in it. And it just got to the point I found the limits of the transmission I was running. And I called Mike, and Mike said, "Man, just pull it out. Let me build you a new setup, and we'll fix it." And man, ever since then, I checked the fluid in it. We changed the fluid every 2 or 3 races, and we haven't had no problems.
Man, you got to love that.
Yes, sir.
So Cam, seeing people talk on Facebook and on other social media, it seems like everybody thinks that they can build a car like this for, a reasonable amount. But what's one area that maybe people underestimate the cost on a build like this, as high of craftsmanship and as fast as this car is?
One thing I will say that a lot of people don't realize, just because there's half the cylinders, don't mean it's half the money. Um, the 4-cylinder stuff costs just as much as V8 stuff. So it really, there's no difference in money aspect in engine components, stuff like that. But man, down to the roll cage tubing, man, and the simple stuff. I'm very blessed to we have a race car shop with the stuff hanging on the wall. I don't have to go buy $200 worth of roll cage tubing when I want to add a couple bars to the car. I just grab it off the wall. So I'm very, very blessed. But man, people do not understand the time and the money it takes. I mean, just going into, oh, well, this, we had a problem last year. We wanted to add a couple bars to the car, and man, it took me 2 days, and probably, I mean, I'm not going to say it cost me $500, but it cost me money that I could have been working and making that money. So people don't realize what it takes to race on this level. And I can say, if I couldn't do most of the stuff myself and I didn't have the support I had behind me, man, there's no way I could do it.
Yeah. I've obviously never built a car at this level, but I can't even imagine the bills that it would cost if you were taking everything to a shop and having someone else do it. I mean, millions of dollars, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
So Cam, speaking of this, on topic, if someone wanted to replicate a build like this, a 4G63 rear wheel drive, got all this set up, the nice, trans brake and everything, what's something that you would warn them about?
Um, Biggest thing I'd warn them about is you got to love working 100 hours a week when you're not working 100 hours a week, working on the car to make up the time you're not working. And you got to hate money. I mean, you got to be able to take $2,500 on a random Wednesday and just light it on fire, because that's basically what you do with it. Replicating a build like mine, man, it takes a lot. There's really nobody out there in the small tire world doing, or in the import world doing what I'm doing. Us being on the East Coast, everything over here is small tire, or it's either pro mod. So there is no car out there like mine. There has been few small tire cars. Jarvis being one of them. He done a lot in the small tire world, but in a lot of ways, his setup and my setup are different. But biggest thing I could tell you, if you want to replicate it, to come by it.
Cam, you talked about doing this build while you were in high school and maybe not having the money or the know-how at the time to do a certain part or get a certain part. Is there anything that, having said all that you would do differently now if you could start all over and build this car from the ground up again?
Yes, sir. There would be a lot about the car that would be different. Me and my dad have, we built cars a long time, and once I really about, that high school age, I really, really got into racing. The whole school sports thing faded out. I learned what the adrenaline of letting go of a trans brake button was, and that solved everything else that Camden wanted to do in life. Um, but mainly being the budget of the car, you know, we work alongside of Brian at Hammer Concepts now, and we use a lot of TRZ parts and stuff. And man, I mean, just like the 4 link brackets in the car, man, if I could buy the 4 link brackets that I could afford now compared to what I bought in high school, it just make the car so much nicer. The car works amazing. I mean, there's nothing about the car that is bad. It's just me being on the level I'm at now, working on these pro mod cars and helping with these pro teams and learning more and more and more, being around the people I'm around. I come back home and work on my own car, and I'm like, man, I want to cut the back end out of it and just redo it with new parts. So but at some point you got to go to the racetrack. You can't just keep cutting up and redoing. So I've just kind of cut my mind off a little bit and like, look, I want to race.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, Cam, kind of speaking of that, obviously there's so much that you can do now that you have the money and the skills and the know-how and the experience from, breaking this part and trying that part. Do you think that this car will ever be done in its final form?
Um, if I'm being completely honest with you, this car is probably in its final form. I don't want to speak on it too much yet, because we're still in the scheming process, trying to figure out, what all we want to do. But
Hmm.
I will not be done with the 4G63. We will continue to try to go faster and do new things. But I don't think this car, I don't think we'll do much more to or with this car past what it does this season.
Well, I mean, that's both exciting and, kind of heartbreaking because, we haven't got to see this car move up the MitsuTimes list enough. But I know whatever you have working in the background, I know it's going to be even more special.
Yes, sir. We're going to try to.
Well, Cam, when you're at the track and people see this thing make amazing hits and they walk over to the car in the pits and they see it's a little 4 cylinder, what's kind of people's impression the first time that they take a look at this car?
Man, most time people, if you get to make a lick before they see the car, they can't believe it's got a 4 cylinder in it. Trapping, 150 to 160 mile per hour, you don't see that much on a 4 cylinder car. So it kind of throws everybody for a loop. The car being lime green, being bright, I mean, it catches everybody's attention. It's different. There's nothing else out there like it. So it grabs a lot of attention, and, you know, a lot of people, they're very, very interested in what's going on. What's this young kid doing over here with this 4 cylinder?
Well, there's nothing else out there like it. There's no better way to describe that your car than that. But you talked about it's always getting attention. Has it gotten even more attention than you expected it to get?
I would say yes. This car has took me places and let me meet people and grow connections that I never thought I would be in, places I would be, and people I would get to meet and know on a first name basis and be able to pick up my phone and call them, at any time. Um, it is really opened my horizon on racing and meeting new people. A lot of, because we first started out, when I first started out, the hometown racing was the thing. You knew everybody. And now, I mean, man, you calling a man that's in a whole different time zone, asking him what he's doing with his car, and y'all are really good friends, so it's really been a blessing in its own way.
I love that. Yeah, I mean the network of people that you get to meet while you're racing have that share the same passion for not just cars but even more specific in the 4G63 world. I mean, it's crazy how it's almost like we all have this connection that we all just get along.
Yes, sir.
Well, Cam, you talked about maybe shelving this car and trying something different. What's next for this car then? Is it to just keep it like it is and race it, or is it to just kind of put it in the shop and put a cover over it?
Well, that's kind of a I don't know yet question. I think with this car, I would probably never sell it just because it was the first race car that me and my dad ever built for me, and there is memories that
Sure.
no amount of money could ever buy. I mean, there's so many Friday and Saturday nights in the shop, me being 16, 17 years old working with my dad. I mean, that's priceless memories to me. Um, but there is very much planning going in um, on a new car and some new stuff. We recently got us a new chassis table in the chassis shop, and we've designed our own in-house chassis design. And I, I'm I got a feeling there will be a new car rolling out with a 4G in it. I ain't gonna say soon because it takes time, but it's definitely in the planning.
Well, that's very exciting. We definitely, you know, we need some more fast cars out there to keep the 4G enthusiast alive and around, and keep us motivated to push our cars.
Yes, sir.
Well, Cam, like you said, this car holds priceless memories, and it's something that you could build 100 cars in the future, and no car will probably be as special as this one. What's been your favorite moment so far with this car?
My favorite moment with it, probably has to be small block boost last year at Galot. We ended up getting lucky enough and blessed enough to win um the small block boost shootout last year. Funny enough, we finished a car at about 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon and put it in the trailer. Um, Brand new setup, brand new transmission and converter. Motor hadn't been touched since last year. I mean, I didn't even change the plugs in it. I mean, we just brand new front suspension, all brand new Menser struts, everything. I mean, I was out of town working Tuesday and Wednesday, and Dad was home working on the car by himself because he knew I wanted to make this race so bad. Um, and first outing, we went out, had a power wheeling issue on Friday night, had a couple passes where it power wheelied. Got up with the guys Saturday morning at Menser Motorsports. They helped us out, kind of gave us some advice. Went out there, made A to B passes all day, ran my PB time after time. Every pass down the racetrack was a personal best. And I say that to say my favorite memory with the car was my 3-year-old nephew being able to sit on the roof of it in the winter circle.
Those kind of family moments, that it just doesn't get any better than that.
Yes, sir.
Well, Cam, one thing that's so special and cool is little details that the builder notices that a lot of people don't notice. Passing by or seeing it in the pits, or definitely going down the track. What's your favorite small detail that people often overlook but you love?
Um, I think the biggest thing about the car that nobody understands or realizes what it is the car number. Um, My first nephew was born June 18th of 22. The day he was born was one of the times I got the car back running. I got the car running, and when I got the car cut off and everything was good with it, I got the phone call that he was born. So that was pretty awesome moment. So the car number is 618, which stands for his birthday. Um, and just like the car's named Raphael, it's got a Ninja Turtle on the wing. A lot of people don't understand where that comes from. The car's green. Why is it named Raphael? But being the slowest street car out of the whole bunch, out of everybody you race with, my sister always called me the turtle. She was like, "Oh, you're just a turtle. You're the slowest one." Being young, and it's always just kind of stuck with me. It was a cool thing that nobody really understands it, but that's the meaning behind it.
Hmm. Well, Cam, there's really not a whole lot of cars, on the MitsuTimes list that can really compete. I mean, Albert, the jet racing car in Australia, that's all that I can think of off the top of my head. I know Mikkel down in Florida has a 1G, rear wheel drive series car. Is there anybody that you want to call out this season?
Um, I'm gonna say anybody that's sitting in the staging lanes when I'm there, and I don't mean that and being arrogant or cocky. It's just I don't really. I'm going out there to see how fast I can go. I'm going out there to test myself. Um, of course, there's a few cars here and there that I wouldn't mind, putting on the trailer, but as in my 4G family, there ain't nobody I want to call out. I support them just as they support me. I want to see them do good, just like they want to see me do good. I feel like the 4G group is one big family. I had a guy message me today that he's a 4G 6.3 rear wheel drive guy, and he needs some custom machining done. I told him, get it to me, I'll take care of it. It's just a big family that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's what makes our community so unique. Is it's just one big family. Events like the shootout where we all get together. I mean, it's literally like going to a family reunion. I get to see people that I know and love and talk to all the time, and spend some time with them. And there just happens to be racing at.
We plan to make it this year
Good,
to the
good, good, good.
shootout. That's one of my goals for this year. I don't know if the car will be in quarter mile trim, but that's our plan.
Just kind of go and make some exhibition passes.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Well, Cam, where can people find and follow you on social media to see more of this Raphael bright green Dodge Avenger?
Pretty much all of my social medias other than Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that is 4G Cam. Um, my Facebook is just Camden Herring. Our business page is HRT Unlimited. Um, Everything with the car and business machine shop, chassis shop, everything's posted on them social medias. So if you want to keep up with us, that's where you can.
Okay. Definitely. This is, I know I say this every episode, but this is one that you have to go and follow. I mean, Cam is doing some crazy things with this car, and you want to be there to witness it. Cam, is there anybody that you want to give a thanks or a shout out to?
Yes, sir. There's quite a few. Um, Big shout out to Howtech. Them coming on board this year with a sponsorship. Um, Hooking us up with a Nexus and a new dash and wiring harness and all. Is was a big step for me and something I have dreamed of for years. I've always run Howtech. Um, it's kind of obsolete on the East Coast over here where we're at. But man, the guys at Howtech, Rick, Cole, Nick, Joshua, all them guys, man, I love them. They take care of me. Any questions I got, they try to support us and make us the best we can be. Um, Go Lithium Batteries, they hook us up with batteries nearly every year. We're a dealer for them in house, so I mean they're a great company to work alongside of. AJ and the guys there, they're really good people. Um, like to give a shout out to Mike Graham at Virginia Speed and Neil Chance Racing Converters, Marty and Mike. I mean they team up. Um, to work on something that really they have no interest in, but they like me and they're willing to help. I think I can say I have the first 4-cylinder automatic car that will flash the converter over 9,000 RPMs, and that's thanks to Marty at Neil Chance Racing. They're great guys. We're actually warehouse distributors for Neil Chance. Anybody that needs anything, just get with me. I'll help you. But Mintzer Motorsports, all 4 corners of my car's got Mintzer shocks on it. I wouldn't run anything else. They're great people. Mark takes care of me. He looks out for me a bunch. I've been dealing with him since I was 14, 15 years old. I mean, he's watched me grow up in a way, and, he's a great guy. TKM, D. Kevin Mullins, one of my good friends. He's kind of helped me with some of the stuff. He runs the engine machine shop too. All the machine shops on the East Coast were kind of like a big family. We all try to help each other and do what we can for each other. And, he's helped me on my build. We've actually switched over, done top fuel hoops instead of O-rings this year. And that's thanks to Kevin. He built a custom top fuel hoop small enough to fit a 4G and designed a program and all to be able to do it. Patrick Barnhill, he's going to come on board this year, hopefully, and he's going to help with tuning. I think he'll be a big addition to our team, helping, teaching me and helping with that. I got to give a plug to HRT Machine Shop and HRT Race Cars. If it won't for my dad and every position he's put me in life, there's no way I would be where I am today. I cannot be thankful enough for him. Darren King at Crystal Coast EFI Solutions, the car will be going to him next month for all new wiring. Another great buddy of mine. He does great work. He's a very, very humble guy. I like him a lot. Got to give a shout out to my boy Albert. We may give each other crap, and don't get me wrong, we disagree on stuff and we agree on stuff, but through and through, that's my boy. I like old Albert. He's a good dude. Got to give a shout out to my parents. If it weren't for them, always supporting me, even if it weren't the best decision in life, they always supported me. They've always had my back. My best friend, she deals with my crap daily, complaining about the car, dealing with my attitude when something don't go right, even if it's business. Got to give a shout out to her. But that's about it. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. Just comment and I'll tag you.
There you go. Well, Cam, I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share this story. And, I definitely hope that we can get you some more followers and people can see what you're doing with the 4G and see what you're planning on doing in the future. Like you said, with this new exciting build. So again, thank you so much. And I will definitely always be glued to your updates and what you're doing. And I can't wait to see this car in person.
Yes, sir, man. Hopefully we'll make some events this year that we'll all be able to get together and I'll be able to meet some more new people that I'm looking forward to meeting, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, Cam, have a great night. And like I said, thanks again.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.